Hello YouTube, I'm DreamingOwls and this is a video response to a YouTube user called Nick Dutch and to his video called Atheism is Not the Answer. I'll leave the link below, so watch it first. My video will make much more sense if you watch it first, and plus it's not long and it's pretty interesting. So Nick, your video is pretty interesting, but I find it to be a little contradictory. I mean, you started the video by saying atheism is never the answer and could never be the answer and will never be the answer under any circumstances. And well, I find that to be a little contradictory and a little bit extreme. I mean, if you're talking about being the answer to everything, I mean, being the answer, well, sure, it's not the answer, because, but then again, there is no such thing as the answer to everything. There is no concept that can answer everything and solve every problem. And atheism is the answer, but not to everything, only to certain questions, and it depends on certain circumstances. But you say that atheism is never the answer, no matter what the circumstances are. And I disagree. I think that circumstances are fundamental to understanding what the answers could be. And another point you make during your video, and you continue making it, is that atheism is not better. I mean, you say that atheism could never be considered morally superior to something else. I mean, yeah, I agree that being atheist doesn't guarantee you a perfect society. It doesn't guarantee you to have better qualities. It doesn't guarantee a better lifestyle and a better life in general. But then again, it depends on who we're talking about. It depends on the persons. I mean, for example, take me. For me, being atheist made my life better. It was a good answer. I mean, being atheist morally upgraded the way I think of life and people and everything else. And so, like you said about Thunderfoot, being an atheist doesn't make you morally superior to everyone else, and it depends. It depends on the culture of a person. It depends on the context. It depends on his world of view. It depends on a lot of things, on the circumstances. So for you to say that atheism is never the answer, no matter what the circumstances are, is wrong. And for example, another thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that you said that atheism is never morally superior. Well, let me point to you something in particular. Morality isn't composed of one thing only. I mean, being atheist is not the only part of my morality. I'm atheist and I have a complex morality, and my moral opinions come from a lot of places, not only on the consideration of God. I mean, being atheist is only one part of my morality. Sure, it's an important part, but it's one part. So it's impossible to say that atheism is morally superior. If you take the notion of atheism, well, then it depends on the context. It depends on what circumstances we're talking about. For example, superior to who? To what? If we're talking about the Iran situation, in which there's a woman that could possibly be killed by stoning to death by individuals that think that they're allowed to do it because it's written in the Quran, well, yeah, it's superior. Plus, I feel that when you're talking about atheism being all about being rational and being morally higher, you fail to consider that which you accuse your opponents of failing to consider. I mean, you fail to consider all the emotional and social and psychological background and causes of being atheist. I mean, atheism doesn't have only one particular cause. It doesn't have only one rational background. One can become atheist for emotional motives. I mean, one can go to church and not feel anything and lack emotions and become atheist because he doesn't feel that he believes in God and anything else. And there's no rational processes going on here. It's only a question of emotions. On the other hand, one can be atheist because he rationally thinks that stuff, and he thinks that rationally there's no reason for you to think there's a God. In the same way, someone else could become atheist because of psychological motives. I mean, his friends could be atheists. His idol his hero could be atheist. His parents could be atheists. So he is strongly encouraged to be an atheist. And there's no rational thinking here. So you see, when you're talking about atheism, like rationality and all about being rational and being rational, I mean, atheism is not always based on rational thinking. Just like religion is not always based on religious feelings. It's not strictly that way. I mean, it depends. It really depends on what the history of every individual is, and how they view the world, and what their ideas are, and the context and the circumstances. So, at the end of your video, you made two other points with which I disagree, and one of these is that atheism is a cult, and I don't see how it could be considered a cult. I mean, I'm not worshipping anything. I don't have any atheistic leader which gives me enlightenment. I mean, sure, I hang up with other atheists, but it's a community. I mean, we share things that we have in common, and one of these is being atheists. And on YouTube there are several communities of atheists, but a community is defined by the fact that there are relationships between these persons based on a common interest, and it's not a cult. It's really not a cult. So you should look up a dictionary. And for the second thing, you concluded the video saying that if one focuses too much on natural sciences and too less on mental sciences, well, they get cold. Brr. Well, it depends. Again, it depends on what you have to answer to. I mean, for an astronomer that wants to answer how Jupiter was formed, natural sciences are the way to go. I mean, sociology and psychology won't tell you much about Jupiter. And for someone who works as a scientist, natural science is clearly the most important thing. And of course, it's not the only thing, because if you ask him about what he thinks of love, he won't answer you on a sole basis of natural sciences, and that's obvious. I mean, it really depends on the question, and these questions are, I think, that what your video lacks of. And that's all I have to say for now. And so, thanks for watching. I really enjoyed doing this video. I hope you enjoyed it too. And if you did, maybe you could, I don't know, subscribe. So, see you next time. I'm DreamingOwls, and I hope you dream them too.